Paul Mainieri steps in it again, cannot get out of his own way. A weird quote that leaves everyone wondering what is going on. South Carolina baseball. Locked On Gamecocks starts right now.
You are Locked On Gamecocks, your daily podcast on the South Carolina Gamecocks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Locked On Gamecocks. I'm your host, Chris Marler. I hope everyone is having a fantastic start to your Wednesday as we are recording this last day of the month, my stepdad's birthday. Give Russell Pye a happy birthday over there. Former GM at the Alsco plant across from Founders Park, which is where we talk about today's content. And there's a lot to get to. Before we do, we have, I want to say thank you to our listeners that make Locked On Gamecocks your first listen each and every day. Shout out to our everydayers. Remember, guys, we're a free and available podcast wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Now, today's episode brought to you by our friends at Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Now, let's get into today's episode. It's one of these things. How do we get into this? It's like I want to defend Paul Mainieri so much. And I feel like I have. He is a national championship winning coach. Those don't grow on trees. But it's easier to sit here and say, like, well, like you're already mad at somebody and then they say something else. Like, have you ever been in a fight with like a significant other and it's like you're already upset about something they did? This usually happens with my girlfriend to me. And it's like, you said you're going to do the dishes and you didn't. And then like you are sitting there and then like you don't know they're mad. But then the slightest thing that you said, it like, like then they're really mad. That kind of feels like how South Carolina fans are with Paul Mainieri. It's like Paul Mainieri forgot to do the dishes after he said he's going to do the dishes. So, but every little thing he does seems to become a bigger deal than it needs to be. And he's not helping himself. That's the thing. He's not helping himself. And I still think he's the right guy for the job. I still think he should be here longer than a year. Be mad at me all you want on that. I totally get it. I totally respect y'all's opinions as fans for it as well. But we have reached the point now with Paul Mainieri where no matter what he does, we're frustrated and with good reason, right? This is the quote that he came out with the other day. And just like, dude, just stop. Like, you have to be better than this to say this. And this is the quote. I don't see why we can't compete for everything right out of the gate. I didn't come here to lose. I didn't come here to be mediocre. In my opinion, South Carolina baseball represents excellence, right? That's what he said before. Then he comes in to say, okay, I had just underestimated the strength of the conference and how much better the conference has gotten in the last couple of years. The players are so much bigger and stronger and more experienced, older. We just have not been able to match up in some cases with them. If you're losing and everyone knows you're losing, this is the most don't care about the labor, just show me the baby type situation. I hate that phrase because the labor seems pretty difficult, to be honest. But Carolina fans are not going to sit here and be like, yeah, no, man, we get it. Like, you should – who could have warned you that the SEC was going to be so good? Have they won the last 6 national titles? Yeah, but like, dude, who could have seen this whole thing coming? Like, who could have seen the SEC being this strong? Of course, they're constantly in contention and constantly, for the most part, like the overwhelming presence conference-wise in Omaha. But how could you have seen this coming? Oh, you coached in the SEC. You won a national title in the SEC? But still, Paul, how could you have seen this coming? That kind of thing is not going to go over well with a fan base when you're already losing. Like saying, well, I underestimated Who'd you underestimate, Coach? Did you underestimate the team you're playing? No. Did you underestimate, I don't know, the roster yet? No. Oh, you underestimated the entire league, and you underestimated the league that has been the best conference in college baseball. If you think they dominate college football, if you think they dominate like college basketball this year, buddy, let me show you what they've done to college baseball. And you've coached in this league at the premier school in this league. And you didn't know? Like, come on, man. Come on. And it's so weird to me. It's so weird to me that, like, you just don't know better not to say it. I think Paul Mainieri is a great coach. I feel bad for even saying this. Like I feel bad for criticizing. That guy has forgotten more about baseball today than I have ever learned in my lifetime. And I played in college. Like without a doubt, that guy has forgotten more about baseball today than I have ever learned in my entire life. But let's switch from baseball to, I don't know, PR or common sense. And saying this when you're in the midst of losing and losing and losing over and over and over again, it's like, what? You underestimated tell me you underestimated the weather. Tell me you underestimated that the wind was blowing out late in the game and you shouldn't have elevated a fastball on a 1-0 count. Tell me that. Tell me you underestimated the speed of an outfielder or the arm of an outfielder when you sent a runner from second to home. Tell me you underestimated the speed of a base runner, right? And continue to call an off-speed pitch on a guy that's 1-5 to the plate. That's probably a little bit too deep. But if you tell me all that. Don't tell me you underestimated the strength of the best conference in college baseball that has been the best conference in college baseball for over a decade when you've already coached in this league. What the hell are we talking about, man? It's like, and here's the weirdest part to me. I reference this all the time. My main job, ESPN 104.5 and Louisiana Sports.net in Baton Rouge, okay? Paul Mainieri coached at LSU. There's people in that building that I work with that still have good relationships with him. We did a full-on article where we sat down with Paul for like 30 minutes. My editor, Rivers Huey, phenomenal talent, and wrote an article that was fantastic talking about I think it was the last LSU Mississippi State game before they got Duty Noble Field, and it was this incredible weekend. It was a great story. Met with all these different people when she wrote the article, right? And one of the people she met with was Paul Mainieri. And the conversation that she had with him, it paints a much different picture of what his thoughts about the SEC were in comparison to what he just said. And we're going to get into that after the commercial break. But it's just so odd to me. I say a lot of dumb blank all the time. I know that comes as a surprise to no one. You guys have heard me try to pronounce last names that are over 7 letters. Not great. But I have talked a lot with my hands today. I'll say that. Hopefully this counts for calories. I do not want to go to the gym. But here's the thing, man. You have to know better than that. You have to know better than that. You've been a coach for how long? Surely you know how that's gonna read. Surely you know how that's gonna come off. And you still said it, and it's just it's just becoming increasingly hard or harder phrasing to defend something when it's last night South Carolina beat Charleston Southern. I thought they were going to lose that game. They beat Charleston Southern. Not a bad team. 24-16, 24-17 now. But we should be talking about those wins. We should be talking about what this team needs to do to get ready for Hoover. And what we're talking about is how many more? Okay, we got 3 more. We got 3 more series. Okay. LSU's coming to town. That's going to be a whole thing. Who else they got? Oh, and then we got to go to Hoover. Well, it's single elimination. So we'll get to that. And then we'll ship these kids off to go play summer ball in the coastal plains and Cape and whatever. Like, we should be talking about all that. Like Ethan Petrie's, injured AC joint, might be out for the rest of the year. Probably talking about that. And we're going to talk about that after the break. But instead, we're talking about this. And it's just like, dude, I am becoming exhausted trying to figure out how to defend it, because I do think he should be here for more than a year. I think any coach should be here for more than a year. In general, I think any coach should be given more than a year, and especially somebody with this resume. But at every turn, it seems to get somehow worse, and you're just left with being like, what? So before we get going on to the next part of the show, I do want to give you a quick shout out to our friends at Monarch Money. And listen, it's the offseason for football. I know that we have a lot going on, man. And I know that you guys are probably as frustrated, if not more than I am. I appreciate you guys listening. I really do. So I hate when we have to have a show where it's like a negative energy, but that's kind of where we are today. All right. Before we get into the break, I do want to tell you about our friends at Monarch Money. There won't be any negative energy when we talk about Monarch Money. Do you ever check your bank account and wonder, like, hey, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. That sounds cool. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money and start building actual wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. Now I budget a little bit smarter, go to the store, go to Lowe's, go to Publix, all the above. And instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals right at your fingertips. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money today. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. All right, we'll be right back with more Locked On Gamecocks right after this. All right, so here is what I wanted to talk about. All right, we interviewed Paul Mainieri, or I didn't. Rivers did. Rivers, he interviewed Paul Mainieri, and she gave me permission to go through all this kind of stuff. But this is what he said about the SC, because I was having a conversation with him about this. I was like, hey, listen, you guys have all been in Baton Rouge longer than I mean, I don't live in Baton Rouge yet, so it's like you guys have all been there and have like talked to Mainieri. Like, what's like covering South Carolina? It's just like he says something else, and her first response to me was, yeah, he kind of does that sometimes. He kind of says stuff that you're like, oh, dude, that's kind of like why? Like, what, just like kind of an oddball. And a lot of baseball guys are, and a lot of baseball managers, they definitely are. They're an intense, high-strung, like very specific type A personality. That's almost every baseball manager at a high level, at least, that I've ever come across. There's a reason why you don't have a ton of guys like, I would love to go interview that guy. That guy seems like a ton of fun. Or I would love to hang out and I'd love to go grab a beer with that guy. I don't want to have a beer with Terry Francona. And it's not just because of what he did to the Red Sox in 2003 at all. Not Terry Francona, Aaron Boone. I do love Terry Francona. But I don't want to go have a beer with that guy. That guy seems like an a-hole. I should almost said it, but I didn't. There's a lot of people that you're like, with baseball, it's just an odd bird type deal. Her response was like, yeah, sometimes he does that. But when I brought up the quote, she was like, that's so bizarre to me, because that's not what he said at all during the interview. This is just a little over a month ago. And this is the quote, right? Rivers says, so I wanted to start with some general SEC conversation here. You've been coaching the SEC over a decade. Have you seen the conference evolve into sort of a dominant force that it is right now? This is Paul Mainieri. Well, I came to LSU as a coach in the 2007 season. It was my first year, and even back then, it was the dominant baseball conference in the country. So, it was outstanding. Every Friday night, you're facing the future first-round draft choice. Every team had 2 or 3 future major leaguers on it, and it was from top to bottom. It was the very best league in the country, and it's only gotten better as years have gone on. So, every single school has a beautiful facility, is hired and an outstanding coach, and has given the program that financial support to recruit and do all the things that they need to do in the program. That just keeps getting better and better. You know what? I'm sorry, the conference just keeps getting better and better. And now with the new era, to speak of the transfer portal, NIL, and in a revenue share and all those things, it's just amazing how much better the conference continues to get. Other things like nutrition, support, strength training, and it's become just an animal in its own right now. There's nothing that competes with the Southeastern Conference, Rivers. It wasn't always that way, like in 1976. But there's nothing that competes with the Southeastern Conference. Two things can be true at the same time. But I don't know if that cliche applies to this. You tell me. Tell me in the comments your takeaway on that. I don't know what to say about that. I underestimated the strength of the conference. Everyone's so big and strong. Here's the one thing that I keep going to as well. I always joke around with my buddies when we played, and I'm like, dude, man, there's no chance I would ever touch a fastball hitting 100 miles an hour, and everyone throws 100 down. It used to be like, hey, if you're throwing 90, you're going to go D1. If you're a lefty throwing 90, you're going to get drafted. Everyone throws 100 down. Everyone, right? And then you look at this and you're like I get that players are playing better now, but the hitters have also evolved. It's like, yeah, players are bigger, but were you recruiting guys that were only going to be good 10 years ago? No, you've only been there for a year. So what are we talking about? These two quotes by the same man do not align. They do not align at all. And I'm sorry I'm talking so much with my hands. It's just I am fired the blank up because it makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me. Again, here's the quote. I don't see why we can't compete for everything right out of the gate. I didn't come here to lose. I didn't come here to be mediocre. In my opinion, Carolina baseball represents excellence. I think we need to win now. That's when he took over during his introductory press conference. Then this is what he said this past weekend. I had just underestimated the strength of the conference and how much better the conference has gotten in the last couple of years. The players are so much bigger and stronger and more experienced, older. We just have not been able to match up in some cases with them. You knew all this, man. Come on. So it just feels like we're getting the runaround, or it's just not aligning with the different things that have been said. And again, man, I cannot say this enough. I like Paul Mainieri. I think he should be the guy next year. So I don't want this to be some overly negative thing, the what do you call it? The natives are getting restless and we're sitting here with ready to burn the village down or whatever. But I do want you to be honest with what we're talking about here. And if you're saying on one end, oh my God, man, it's always been the best conference. It's never changed. It's been so crazy to see how great this conference has been. And they'd be like, I completely underestimated how great this conference was. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Because it's impossible to do that. At the most basic level, it is impossible to underestimate the SEC. Think about that phrase, and you could really apply it to any sport. Underestimate the SEC? In any sport, underestimate the SEC? What? Overestimate? Sure. Maybe last year it's you had 3 really good teams in football and then the 3 9-3 teams. And overestimate? Sure. SEC fans get accused of that all the time. Underestimate? You underestimated a league that has won 6 straight national titles in college baseball. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. I mean, we're talking about last year playing for a national title with 2 SEC teams in. Same blank that happened in 2023. 2 years in a row you did it. 2 years in a row. Listen, they have not won 6 years in a row because of COVID. They have won the last 5 national titles in a row. They have won. I always forget that Coastal Carolina won an actual national championship. That's insane to me. But let's go back to 2017, man. Let's go back to 2017. Florida wins the national title. Who'd they beat? LSU. Both teams in the national title game. Let's go to 2018. Arkansas has a 1-0 game lead in the best of 3 series, drops a pop-up in foul territory in the 9th inning, ends up losing to Oregon State. But runner-up, SEC team. 2019, Vanderbilt, SEC team. They win it all. 2021, Mississippi State wins it all. Who'd they beat? Oh, Vanderbilt, another SEC team. Ole Miss wins the national title in 2022. Who'd they beat? Current SEC team, Oklahoma. 2023, LSU beats Florida. 2024, Tennessee beats Texas A&M. Guys, by any measure, your last 5 national champions are all from the SEC. Your last 4 national championship series have been played between SEC or current SEC teams in all 4. There is no way to underestimate this conference. There's no way that's possible. There's no way. That's all I'm going to say about it. We've gone on for 20-something minutes. I'm not going to say anything else about it, but point blank, period. There is no way to underestimate this conference. So if you did that, then maybe we do need to have a conversation. All right, that is all. You know what? That's all for the show because I'm pissed now. And the Ethan Petrie thing sucks. You're talking about a baseball player that has been the best player in your lineup for 2 straight years. Came back when he probably should have gone pro, or could have gone pro. Not should have gone, but could have gone pro last year. AC joint injury. He's going to probably miss the rest of the season unless by some miracle you make postseason play, and that's the best decision for him. I don't think anybody would tell him he should do something different than that. Baseball did get a win last night against Charleston Southern, which 5-3. I keep saying it over and over again. It's amazing how much more simple, or how simpler this game can get when you shove on the mound, and when you're not giving up a ton of runs. It's amazing how much easier this game can be when you're giving up 3 runs. I think it was 3-0 going into the inning last night. So I think it's just amazing how much easier this game gets when you're able to pitch well, even if the offense has kind of struggled a little bit. So that's all for today's episode. I appreciate you guys. Hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday. We'll be back with another episode tonight, and we'll talk to y'all then. Go Cox.